Hello, academicians. Welcome back to our tutorials on spreadsheet. Today, we are going to solve a question, the Summer 2025 Paper 2 for 9626. This paper includes most of the concepts that we have looked at so far in all the tutorials under spreadsheet, where we are going to explore some text extracting functions and combine it with lookup functions. Let's get into it. So the question says, you work for the Tawara Scuba School who run classes 7 days a week. Each classroom has a letter on the door rather than a number. Each teacher can teach up to 4 classes per day. You will create a spreadsheet to find classes for a selected teacher on a selected day. All dates must be displayed in the format dd/mm/yyyy format. Open and examine the file j25teacher.csv using a spreadsheet application software. Name this worksheet as teacher. Open and examine the file j25data.csv. Place its content in a new worksheet called data within the same workbook. Okay, so the workbook that we have created as teacher, we'll bring this one in and call it data. This worksheet now contains data about classes, subjects, and lessons. The data for the subjects, periods, and room letters are stored as strings in the -- classes section. It is formatted like this. The first character is a subject code. The second character is a period. The next character, which is a third, is a room where the lecturer or the teacher will be, and it continues in that format. The length of the string will depend on the number of classes taught by the teacher. Okay, by each teacher on each day. So the higher it goes, it indicates the number of classes being taught in that day. Okay. Create a new worksheet within the workbook called Finder. Okay, so now we can go back and do this. So we have the two files, teacher is here and data is here. It says we should save this as teacher and make sure you change it as Excel workbook. And especially a CSV file cannot contain more than one worksheet. So save. And then we shall bring in data as a new. Select all of data to here. Paste values. So we have it in here. Here they show us the format, the length of the string. Create a new worksheet within the workbook called Finder. In this worksheet, create a table with merge cells to be formatted like this. So let's quickly do that. We have class finder and classes, A1 and 11. Just merged from A to E and do that together. All right, so we have enter date, selected teacher name, all of that. All right, so based on what the question prescribes, we have formatted our document to look exactly as in the question. You take note of the cells that are boldened, you take note of the alignment. All of that has been detailed in the question. Save your workbook as finder followed by your center number and candidate number. So let's do that quickly. Right. And then place in cell B3 the date 13/03/2025. Format this to DDMMYYY. In our previous video, we saw how we can format it using a test function. But let's do that. And then we can format it. Good. Restrict the data entry for this cell so that only dates from 2025 to 2026 can be entered. And you agree with me that we have also looked at validation. Dates that start from 2025 will be 1st of January. Dates that end in 2026 will be the 31st of December. So quickly go to your data validation, date between 01/01/2025 to the 31st of December 2026. Right. If the data is not accepted, display an error message. Okay. Select cell B4 so that the name of the teacher can be selected from a drop-down list. The teacher worksheet can be edited if required. So let's go to this, back to our data validation. We saw how to create error messages. So date must be between January 1st 2025 to 31st December 2026. Right. So here, select the teacher. Also, is another validation. Should be a drop-down list. And we go to our teacher and select it nicely. Right. Place in cell B is a formula to look up the code for this teacher. Now, if you look at the data, the teacher is on the left, on the right, and then the teacher code is on the left. So we can't use VLOOKUP in this regard. We have explored lookup functions in other videos. We can use lookup or XLOOKUP. We can even use index and match, but we have seen the efficiency of the XLOOKUP, so let's do that. Teacher code equals to XLOOKUP. Our lookup value is this. We'll find that in this array, and our return array is here. Which is allowed. And we saw that in our XLOOKUP, if there is no value there, if not found, we can leave it blank as well. It has its error handling feature. Good. Place in cell B7 a function to return the day code of the date entered in cell B3. For example, Sunday is equal to 1 and so forth. And we call this function the weekday function. So weekday, this is the value, and then the return type, it is starting from Sunday. It says numbers 1 Sunday through to Saturday. And you know, there are a number of countries with this, the week starting on Sunday and ending on Saturday, and depending on your location. But here, the first one is what we select. So it returns number 5. Place in cell B8 a function to return the day of the week for the date entered in cell B3. Now, if you look closely at the other data set, we have, yes, so in this set, you see the, if the day is 1, then the corresponding day is Sunday, right? And so forth and so on. And you can see the structure. We have talked about this structure. We have also seen that what is our lookup value is rather at the bottom and not the topmost. So we can use HLOOKUP for this purpose. Again, the versatile function to use is a XLOOKUP. So equal to XLOOKUP. This is our lookup value. Let's call the XLOOKUP function. Our lookup array is here, and our return array is there. Okay, if not found, leave it blank. We are looking for exact matches, that is 0. So it returns Thursday. Good. And remember that there were a couple of reasons why we said most of our arrays should be locked. Here, there isn't much of duplication to be done, but still it's safer to lock them. So let me do so with the other function that I have. Good. In the next question, it says, place in cell B9 index and match functions. So they are specific, even though we can use other functions to solve this problem. They have specified we should use the index and match function to display the string for this teacher's lessons using the teacher code and day of the week. Now, if you look carefully, just like we saw in a previous question, we are supposed to combine the day of the week and the teacher code to come out with this. And if you look at the data, the day of the week is up, and then the teacher codes are here. Okay, so index and match can be used for this purpose. Let's quickly do that. Equal to index. Our array is here. What's our row number? So we use the match function. Come to the finder. value is a teacher code. The table of array is here. Don't forget the match function only provides one side of the array. Our match type is exact. We are not done, so we call the column the match function again. This becomes our lookup value. Our lookup array is here, okay, and also an exact match. There are a number of ways that we can solve this problem. Even if we're using the values down here, we can still use some lookup to do this. We can actually use XLOOKUP, and we've explored it in our other videos. Currently is NA, which is understandable because a teacher has not been selected, but when we do, we have our values displaying there nicely. Good. Then the next set of questions says, place in cell B13 to E13 formally to display the name of the subject for each class. Place in cell B14 to E14 formally to display the time for each class. And if you have looked at this side, you will see that there is a trend. The subject code at number 1, so the next time the subject code will be is at number 4. The next time the subject code will be is at number 7. It's always a 3 addition to it. So let's extract it. Now, when we extract the subject code, it's supposed to help us to get the subject. Okay, the subject code is the first letter, and it's supposed to help us to get the subject from here. Subject table shows over here nicely. So let's look at how we can do that. Equal to, and we have seen for the first class, I can use the left function. That extracts the first letter for me, but I can't do that with the others. The others, I would have to use mid. Okay, so after I have extracted, now I can use this to look up. From here, that's my table. My column index is 2, and it is exact match. I can lock my table. So in here, there are a lot of things that you can do. For example, can you extract the 1 from the class so that it will help you with the number of classes? And you know that there is a trend where I'm saying the first class is 1, the second class will be number 4, which is this plus 3, the first one plus 3. But I mean, depending on you. So let's look at the next one. Equal to mid to extract the 4th character from here. The next one to extract the 7th character, that is plus 3. Good. So the next one will be the 10th character. Mind you, some of it may not be there. So there are some of the characters that will not show, because if you can see from this code, this man has only 3 lessons in that day. So it doesn't have the 4th lesson. Right. Then we can now look up based on what we have extracted. time is at, okay, so time is rather the second room is, so equal to mid, extract the second character from here, just one character. Let me do it for the rest, equal to mid, and the lookup will be much more easier. So after the second character, the next one will be the fifth character, one character only. The next one equals mid, 5 plus 3, that will be 8. One character, and then the next one, 8 plus 3 equals to mid. That will be 11. Let's do it for the next, for the room. So mid, so that when we are doing the lookup, we already have our lookup values. This test, the room is starting at number 3. The next room, 3 plus 3, that is 6. The next room, 6 plus 3, that will be 9. And then the next, that will be 9 plus 3, that will be 12. Good. So now we can now go in there and do our lookups. The time, which is here, all of them to 0. Okay, so you see this NA, and I'm sure you understand why. Let's go into our VLOOKUP. It is returning 1, and I explained to you that the test function in our previous video, that the test function is returning strings, and you can see the 1 in speech marks over here. So to convert it, we can multiply it by 1, and that will pick in here. You see the values are numbers because they are to the right of the cell. Good. So let me do that. And it is only for the time. As for the rooms, they are string values as well, so there's no need to do that. Don't forget, you can also use XLOOKUP. For XLOOKUP, your lookup array is here, and your result array is here. The good thing about the XLOOKUP is that you can make it blank if it is not found. And we have the times placed there nicely. So let's do it again here. Oh, come on. XLOOKUP multiply by 1. Our lookup array is here, and our return array is here. Again, leave it blank if it is an error. Let me add the exact match. So we have used 2 functions in here. Was the value coming from? Okay, yeah, it's correct. It's blank. Right. Good. As for XLOOKUP, it does that for us. All right. So place in cells B15 to E15 formula to display the rooms, which we have already done. Edit the formula in cells B13 to E15 so that if there is no data for this class, it does not display an error. So, like we have done, you see here we've used VLOOKUP, but then if we had used XLOOKUP, we could, handle the error if there is nothing showing. But still, we can use if error to handle that. If error, make it blank, and I can also put that in some. Hey, my friend, why? Oh, if error. Yeah, good. So the if error can be used for this purpose. As compared to if I had used the XLOOKUP, then there wouldn't be the need to use another error handling function. By just not seeing the value, I can say, please ignore it, and handle it if it is blank. Then the next part of the question we are going to look at is 12. Replace the labels in B12 to E12 with formula to display the labels class 1 to class 4 only if there are data in the class. If there is no data, the label should not be visible. So it's a very simple if function. I'll maintain the test. This cell, if there is nothing in this cell, then leave this place blank. Other than that, show the class 1 and so forth and so on. So same, this, yeah, because the class 2 is different, let me also handle that. This cell equals blank, then blank. Else class 2, where is the too many arguments? Oh, equals to blank. So this one, because it is blank, should take effect. Very good. So because you don't have the fault period in the code, this class should be blank. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is a recap of most of the functions that we have explored, where we can use different lookup functions, as we have seen over here, VLOOKUP or XLOOKUP. We have also seen the use of the HLOOKUP, but in this situation, we couldn't use the HLOOKUP because our lookup values were under the result array. So in many situations, depending on what you have been given, you should be able to identify the appropriate function to use. Thank you for joining this video. I'm sure that anytime you have a question that expects you to use a lookup function, you should be able to be efficient in it. See you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe. See you.